Alright, YouTube, this is probably the one that you guys were really looking forward to. The collector grade figure, the big old Sonic figure. Now when I say big, I'm only semi-serious, because this is a huge box, don't get me wrong. Like, this box is as big as the 10-inch Jazzwares Sonic and Metal Sonic figures from back in the day. But this conveniently opening flap reveals that the figure inside is, I'd say a good 6, maybe 7 inches tall at best. Probably closer to 6. It's not even as tall as the old Superposer figures. But it does come with a pretty big wisp. I mean, look at my fingers next to it. That's a solid size wisp. It's pretty darn big. So yeah, we got a very interestingly done box. I mean, I guess it's meant to tie into Sonic Colors, because we got like a whole bunch of Sonic Colors stuff going on here. After all, Sonic Colors was the most recent modern Sonic game that was released when this figure was, coming out. So, I'm sure if it was released now, they would have this thing all decorated up to look all, Frontiers-ish. And the side of the box shows like what he looks like with some of the alternate features. His alternate eyes, alternate faces, alternate hands. And the back has basically a listing of all the stuff he comes with. 13 points of articulation, 3 interchangeable mouths, 3 interchangeable eyes, 3 interchangeable handsets, premium finish, and lenticular display base. In addition, of course, to a Chaos Emerald and a Lightning Wisp. So, yes. Which, by the way, is my favorite Wisp, just in case you're wondering. And then you got Sonic in a cool pose on the other side of the box. So, let's get him out of this one. Since this is a collector grade box, and I'm actually going to be taking care of the packaging on this one, I will do all the opening off camera so as not to damage anything. I decided to start this with Sonic's disappointed face because there's a pretty egregious assembly error on the figure. And I noticed it as soon as I got him out of the box and got a chance to look at him a little closely. Now, depending on the resolution of your screen, you might not see it yet, so let's get in real close. It's on the arms. When you look at it from the side, do you see something? Yeah, let's show you what I'm talking about. This is how the elbows should be bending. See that? You get a nice solid, really deep bend, except it's backwards. It bends backwards. Why can't you just bend it in the other direction? Well, because look at the shape of the plastic. If I tried to bend the elbow into that, that's as far as it goes before it catches the plastic. And why can't I just use the bicep swivel? Because if you go, look, it starts to get pinched and it damages itself. You know what happened? When Jakks Pacific was assembling this figure in their factories, they got the left and right arm parts switched around. They put the left arm in the right shoulder and vice versa. This expensive collector grade figure is built wrong. I cannot believe it. Honestly, I would occasionally see them do this with the Jazzwares figures every now and then, but the Jazzwares figures were only $10, and they were way easier to repair. They weren't high-grade collectible items like this. I honestly can't believe that this actually left the factory in this state. I hope someone on their quality assurance team gets fired for this, because what the hell, Jazzwares? Jakks Pacific. You are not even living up to the standards of Jazzwares in their for a line that costs a quarter as much as this. Actually a fifth, because this figure is supposed to retail for $50. I got it on sale for $40, but $50 is supposed to be the default asking price for a figure that is misassembled. I can't even. I cannot even process that. So I after I turned the camera off, I tried to see if I could fix the arms. Like, I tried to use a hair dryer to soften up the torso to get the arms out and swap them around. Turns out you can't do that. The torso is made out of the hard plastic that does not yield and remains, like, you can't heat it up to soften and pull the arms out. I was able to get the elbows out, but that doesn't make a difference because the problem is up here in the arm itself. So I will be contacting Jakks Pacific on that. I'm gonna send him a message along with pictures and a link to this video review. And seriously, because of this figure's price tag, that is a massive detriment. It is really hard to forgive an assembly error like that. That's pretty bad, Jakks Pacific. I can't really abide by that. But let's press on and talk about the rest of the features. As you can see, the figure is... I'm not sure how well it's coming up in the camera, but I'm actually impressed by the matte blue. Like, the whole figure has a matte finish, which really gives him an organic fur-like feel. Like, this figure has some texture to it. It has a really good hand feel. And the head is, despite how huge it is, it's really lightweight. Like, this is not soft plastic like vinyl, but it is hollow constructed to save as much weight as possible so that this figure doesn't make itself top heavy, at least not excessively so. So, like, this is a figure that you can actually stand, and he will stand without having to lean forward. I mean, it's a little bit awkward because this is a chair, and the chair is soft, but, like, on a table or a display shelf, he actually does hold up. And yeah, the articulation, it's not really anything to go home about. Like, you have universal shoulders, universal elbows that bend and have a bicep swivel, ball jointed wrists, universal hips, so that you have that, universal knees, so you have a knee swivel, and ball jointed ankles, so you can get this figure to stand in some really extreme Sonic Adventure-like poses with his legs all splayed out, but his feet are still flat in the ground. He only has a swivel neck. I feel like a ball-jointed neck would have been the thing to give this guy. But, you know, like, at the very least, yeah, like, if he had, like, remember the Ultimate Tomy figure? The Ultimate Tomy figure had, like, a universal joint in the neck so that the figure could look up and down a bit. Here, since he only has a swivel, when you have him in extreme poses like this, it feels like he's looking down slightly. It would have been cool if we could have had him look up while standing in this pose, like very Sonic Adventure opening animatic, you know? Yeah. So, before I bring in any of the accessories, let's go ahead and get the most relevant comparison out of the way. Yeah, this is the Jazzwares 5-inch Sonic figure. I feel like this is probably the... before this was supposed to be the best representation of Sonic in something resembling this scale is supposed to be. So as you can see, their figure is an inch taller because it's 6 inches instead of 5 inches. But hey, the Jazzwares figure has a waist joint. The Jakks Pacific figure, which costs let's see, this retailed for about $15 when it was brand new. So yeah, like 15 versus 50. So that's a price difference of like almost more than 3 times as much. This figure retails for more than 3 times the cost, and this one has a point of articulation that one doesn't. Oh, and let's not forget that this one's... I just gained an extra life. Let's not forget that this one's elbows bend the right way. So, I'm sorry, Jakks Pacific. I'm not gonna let you live that down. That was unforgivable what you did there. We really can't abide by that. That's a severe error. That's an unforgivable error. But yeah, like, so the figure's a little bit bigger, but And I guess you could say the sculpt is a little better. Is it really, though? The sculpt is almost the same. Yeah. Like, the arms and legs are a little bit thicker and better able to support the figure, I suppose. Ball-jointed ankles instead of swivel ankles make him easier to stand. But, yeah, I mean, it's not that huge an improvement. I mean, yeah, you'd be hard-pressed to find this figure these days, and I guess I did go out of my way to keep mine in good shape, but it's not like it's been in storage. He's been standing on display on a shelf in my room for almost a decade now. So, the fact that he's held up this well, you know, like, Jazzwares made a pretty good Sonic figure back in the day, and this one, it's like I said, the matte plastic really helps because you can see, like, this is so shiny and glossy and looks plastic, while this, like, the matte finish makes him look more organic and realistic. But I'm gonna say that that's basically a premium paint job affair. So, like, for a premium paint job and a marginally more crisp sculpt, you're like paying that much more, and it has a pretty bad assembly error. But you know what? This is not just a figure. There's also a whole bunch of accessories and bits that came with it. So it's not really fair to go comparing that. It's like comparing a Slim Jim to a finely cooked steak, you know? There's more to it than just the fact that they're both made out of beef, right? So let's get his accessories and other assorted stuff out here. First of all, we have us a really cool wisp. The cyan wisp that gives you the lightning, the laser power. Yeah, I mean, great expression, well painted eyes, and it's the statue. Like, the head doesn't even really rotate. It's just the solid piece. It has a little display stand that you plug into the bottom of his little tail so he can stand, but he doesn't really do anything. Like, I would have liked at least to be able to reposition this little lightning thing. So, like, maybe, like, have the lightning bolt, like, facing this direction, but then the character is still facing forward. You know, like, neck swivel would have been nice. Yeah, it's a lightning wisp on, so that's kind of cool. Then there's a Chaos Emerald. And, it's the exact same Chaos Emerald sculpt that the regular figures come with. Like, the figures that you buy for $10 come with the exact same emerald. It's green. I think it's a slightly different shade of green than the regular green emerald, but it's the same emerald. They did not do anything different. Like, I would have actually expected maybe this emerald would be smaller so that it would fit naturally in Sonic's palm like it does in the video games, because this is kind of oversized. It's too big to be the emerald. Sorry, left-handed. This is too big. It's oversized to be the emerald as it appears in video game scale, where Sonic is supposed to be able to hold it like a baseball. So, like, this is big. It's like cantaloupe size, if you ask me. Does not work. And the fact that it's, like, this is a $50 toy, and they're giving us the exact same emerald they've already given us, now that is another thing I can't really abide. That's another minus on you. Oh man, I'm really hating how negative this review is coming out. And then, of course, there are his various other bits. You have closed-fisted hands, an open waving gesture hand. That's the other fist. You have the iconic pointing finger. And, of course, alternate faces. You have the smiling lines, like anime eyes. You have the stern mouth, which I was using for disappointed face earlier. You have the big toothy grin. And you have the half-lidded eyes. So, you know, those are things. Plus, you have the lenticular display. That's supposed to be a big special thing. So let's... unlike the Tomy Ultimate Sonic Classic figure, the display can't actually be used as storage unless you like literally just gathered all the bits underneath it and put it on top. Like it's a lid, not a full box. And well, it's kind of hard. Maybe if I turn the ring light off, let's see what happens. Okay, yeah, okay, that's a little better. I don't know how it's coming across, but as you can see, there's like an effect where depending on the angle you view it, it changes, and the floor does that as well. See, the star moves. Yeah, so yeah, it's a shell. It's a little plastic stand thingy, and there are peg holes in Sonic's feet. They can go into the pegs. You can just push that on, and yeah, you got that going. Yeah, that's a solid display, I guess. Then swapping out the hands is easy. They're simple ball joints. You simply pluck one off, put the other one on, and there you go. Now he has a pointing hand. He points accusingly at Jakks Pacific for the poor quality control that did not assemble his arms correctly, and you know, gave him the same emerald that the cheaper figures come with, and gave him a Wisp-On that has no articulation. A Wisp that has no articulation. Wisp-On is the special Wisp gun. And of course you have the face swapping gimmick, which is neat. The chin, you pull that off. The eyes, you also pull off. Pretty much the same thing that you do for the Nendoroid. Let's see. You just stick that, oop, and then boop. That actually comes off more as a sneer than as something more jovial. I mean, I think they should have given him like a big open laughing mouth like the classic Sonic figure had. But yeah, you know what? I feel like this is really all I can do on the video part of the review. I don't know, like I don't feel like it's worth the price tag. Like if my figure was just misassembled and the other figures don't have that elbow issue, then I guess it would be better. But this, like, I don't really see how I can justify the $40 price tag, let alone the $50 if you didn't catch it on sale. So, I really hate to say it, but this figure just is not worth it. It's frankly not. If I had known about the build quality issues, I personally would have skipped it, and I'm sad to say that I'm recommending you skip it too. I mean, maybe if they fix the QC issue of the elbow thing, but I really hate that I have to give a negative review to a Sonic figure, especially to a high-grade collector figure. This really hurts. It cuts deep, man. My soul is hurting. So I guess the best I can do now is just to take pictures of the figure with all the accessories swapped out so we can see him looking his best. At least as best as I'll be able to make him. So yeah, this is Wake Angel 2001 signing off on this part of the video.